What is going on, collective? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy Belligerence. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Okay, so basically today, the vibe that I was getting was there's somebody who has a mental illness who keeps doing magic and spell work and stuff like that. And slowly but surely, it's like, pretty much causing them to check out more and more every day. So essentially what happens is this person has a mental disorder, and I guess this person is like crying out to be like loved by anybody, by any means necessary kind of vibe. So what they do is, out of fear, they come up with these tactics to force people to stay in their life, because they know if they be their natural self, this mental illness is going to come out and nobody's going to want to be around them. And they have this fear of being alone or being different, because when you're different, people don't genuinely love you, at least not according to this person's standards, right? So basically, this person has people around them that do love them and has been giving them good advice and stuff like that, and telling them, certain stuff. But because they want to be loved in a certain kind of way, they are adamant about continuing to do. So basically the message here is that somebody who's doing magic, the more this person does dark work, or the more this person does controlling work or work to try to manipulate and control people, the more it's going to hurt people around them. Okay? And that has something to do with the energy that they call themselves trying to steal or take from either you or somebody else. Could be another earth angel or whatever it may be. But essentially, the way that the energy is set up is, when you act out of your lower vibrational self, it causes low vibrational things to happen around you. You create chaos around yourself. So whoever this person is, they're creating chaos around. They could have been an earth angel or possibly be a part of the earth angel dynasty. And it's because, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is that, and this is just something real quick before I get started, because I am going to pull cards today. It's just something to explain the situation, basically, right? Just 1 second. Let me get some paper. Of course, I should have got it before the channel started, but I didn't. So here we go. Okay, so basically, when you incarnate into this world, right? Let's say this is God, this is the parent soul, right? From the parent soul, you have the splitting, which essentially creates what? Masculine and feminine energy, right? And then from there, that essentially is what, your trinity is going to be. So when you have that connection above, below, or whatever, that's 3 dimensions, right? In the first dimension, this will be like the 0 or the first dimension, in which all things are encompassed together, okay? And then from that first dimension, we experience that as a period. Now, in the second dimension, which would be Adam, which was the masculine that God created first, you have the line, right? Because this is the second dimension. All 2D beings are on a line, horizontal or vertical, right? So then when you introduce a third, which would be what? The feminine aspect, you get a third dot. This third dot does what? It creates a plane in which you introduce the x-axis with the y-axis and the z-axis all together, right? Which gives you the ability to create this world in which the 3D world is founded off of this trinity, okay? It's basically founded off this trinity. There's other aspects to it, but this is just the basics, okay? Now, we also know that there's a 4th and a 5th dimension, right? So with the 4th dimension, this has to do with consciousness, okay? With consciousness, it teaches both the masculine and the feminine, that from here, what you project out is what you become. So from there, you get something like a tesseract. And you guys, this is all crazy. It's really difficult to draw a tesseract, but just look it up. Tesseract, okay? That's what you get you get like a tesseract. And essentially what it is it's like you project something out, right? You project it out. Each corner goes to a corner like that. So yeah, you project it out. And then what happens is what you project out becomes your reality, because this part comes forward. And as this comes forward, this piece that you projected out manifests itself back into your reality. So basically, it's like going from a period to like this cone, and which is projected into the cone, and then from the cone back into the period. You see what I'm saying? Oh, that looks like an eye. Look almost like the all-seeing eye, right? That's kind of the vibe that I get here just from seeing that alone, right? So anyway, with that projection in itself, that's what the fourth dimension is. Us experiencing our consciousness through what we project and then becoming it or unbecoming it, right? Now with the fifth dimension is something totally separate. With the fifth dimension, what happens is we have, as the first dimension introduced space itself, and well, the zero dimension introduced space. The first dimension is going to be time, and then you have let's see, you got one aspect is going to be space, one aspect is going to be time, and then the next goes back to space, essentially, right? So what happens is with the fourth dimension, you have this projection, right? Like this, right? Now with the fifth, those two split. It's the splitting of essentially what would be called like an atom. Okay? Because what happens here is this essentially, if I had to put it in lesser terms, this would be like your lungs. This would be like your heart. You know how things start one way and then it expands up and then it contracts again. Okay? That's essentially what we learn about the fourth dimension, or we learn it in a different way, right? Now with the fifth dimension, it's the splitting of this. It's like an atom, essentially what it's called the soul. This is essentially where the twin flame journey occurs. So what happens is there's two separate ways that this can happen. You have two souls that interact with one another, right? That are equal in force and strength. And what happens is you lose a part of the mass as they are compressed together, right? We see that in nuclear fusion, right? Now, there's another way in the fifth dimension that I'm talking about today, is when it's split in half. Because what happens is you start accumulating all this energy to yourself, and then you have all these neutral energies that comes through, that could go to and through this energy at will, which is another story, because those neutrons, because they're neutrons, essentially they can interact with this energy or this core, because this is a proton right here. So all positivity essentially is repelled back, essentially, and negative stuff is drawn in. But the neutrons come in, start off at one magnetically charged polarity, where it could start positive. As it comes in, start to lose its charge, become negative, and then switch back to positive, right? But long story short, it splits these two, and this is where we are right now, okay? This is the twin flame journey. You got the masculine and you have the feminine, right? In the fifth dimension, what happens is these two, although split, are quantumly entangled, okay? There's a quantum entanglement to these aspects. We call this the soul connection. Essentially is what that would be, a quantum entanglement. So basically, in this circumstance or situation, now let me speed it up so I can get to the cards. What happens is, in the fifth dimension, you go through something called the dark night of the soul. Okay? Now, essentially what this is that you have two separate souls, right? One here and one here. Now, you have two ways to ascend. One, I believe one of your soul have to learn how to do the selfless path, and the other one is going to have to do the selfish path. Okay? Now, you could do it like this, or you both could do the self path, or you both could do the selfish and the selfless path. Neither one of them is wrong, but essentially this is where our dark twins originate from. Because let's say if you're of the light and you pick the selfish path, right? With the selfish path, only thing a lot of people think selfish, bad, you don't think about yourself. Well, essentially that is correct. You develop yourself. As you develop yourself, you learn how to treat yourself. You understand your love language and things of that nature, right? So what happens is, as you learn to treat yourself, what naturally happens is you extend that to others. And that's the path of the selfish. Developing yourself for the sake of growth and, bringing that growth to the outer world. With the selfless path, that's pretty much self-explanatory. You go forth and you help others on their path. And as you help them on their path, you learn from their lessons and you expand yourself, right? So this is the trick with this fourth dimension karmic twin flame thing. I know you guys get that karmic, twin flame. There's a lot of fifth density beings, which is the twin flame, that don't make it out of the dark night of the soul. And the reason why is because there's a confliction between should they be selfish or selfless. And when they are selfish, they believe it has to be all about them, and they're operating out of their wounds, and they're thinking about self-preservation. It takes them in the opposite direction, where they're supposed to learn from those traumas and develop themselves. But the energy from the wound, it hurts them so bad that what they desire, they end up chasing after what they desire. So you have the ego and you have the super ego. I mean the id. You have the id and the super ego, right? So what does this do? That splits this into a different polarity as well. Because now you have selfish on the id level, and then you also have it on the super ego level. Okay? On the id level, you're operating out of your wounds, and you're thinking about yourself, and you're thinking about your self-preservation and protection. Okay? So when someone does something to you, it will make you feel better. It's easier for you to release if you do revenge and get them back. Now with the super ego, it's like, okay, this happened. What did I do to contribute to it? Who did I trust? You're questioning yourself. What parts of yourself that was desired and undesired? Because you have two problems. You got problems that you can control, and then you got problems that you cannot control, uncontrollable, right? There are way more uncontrollable problems than controllable problems. But that's where this low vibrational twin gets it twisted, because the things they feel they should have control over, they really have no control over. So this is, as a result, they end up in this fifth density prison of themselves, which is why there's a lot of fifth density, there's a lot of twins that are karmic, because they don't understand or know that concept or principle. Okay, so let's do selfless, right? With the selfless id, you're doing it for the sake of your own gain. We see that in manipulation, right? It makes me feel better knowing that I can use this person for whatever I want, because I have problems I can't control. But if I could control this person, maybe this person can help me get control over it. So I'll control this person to control that problem. You see how that works? Now you have the self path, right? Is that right? No, you got the, the selfless path, that is the super ego. When it's the super ego and it's in the higher self, essentially it's something closer to, okay, so I'm going to help this person. This person is going through something. I don't know what it's like to be in that situation, so I'm going to go through it. I'm going to help them and go through it with them. Maybe I can learn a lesson. Now you're not going through any problems on your own. You're going through it with somebody who's already going through it, and you both can learn a lesson from it, if that makes any sense. That's, you know what I'm saying? If that makes any sense. Now, so basically, I said all of that to say this. There's an individual who has a mental illness, right? And basically it's a double, it's getting really bad, because this person is obsessed and keeps doing work and stuff like that. The only thing it's doing is making their mind worse. It's making it worse for them, right? Now, in the midst of this, why this is a problem is because this person has a child that has something close. I mean, that also has an abandonment issue. This child craves this parent's love, affection, and things of that nature, right? But when this parent is going through mental illness, it's difficult for this child to get the love that they want. So this child is doing everything that the parent does in order to get praise and love in their life, just like this parent pretty much will do almost anything to get that love in their life, essentially. So let's look into the energy and let's find out both energies and let's see where it's coming from and what's going on, right? Okay, so this is energy. This is going to be energy number one. Let me see. Oh, hang on. Technical difficulty. Look at that. Somebody definitely don't want this to come out. And I had a car pop out. I had a car pop out too. Hold on. So hang on. Let me get it together, because I don't feel like editing the video. I'm just lazy, man. I'm just that lazy. I don't feel like editing the video. Oh man. Okay. So this one came out first, but when we had the mishap, that came out. Okay. So let's see here. So this is the parent. That's that mental energy I was telling you about. This person abuses information, wisdom that they know. They abuse people through information, essentially. This person is unstable. Their mind is restless. They're impulsive. They have no clear direction, and they have disregard for consequences. You see what I'm saying? This person operates off of what makes them feel better, which means that essentially if this was a twin flame dynamic, or if this person does have a twin flame, essentially what's hindering this person from moving forward is not just his mental illness, because with mental illness, it's like this, like everybody wants to be loved. But the thing is that sometimes people with mental illnesses, or certain people, they believe that they can't be loved because they have a mental illness. They feel like they can't be loved. You know what I'm saying? They just feel like nobody will ever want them or love them. So they have to come with something extra to the table in order to force somebody to love them, or to enforce some kind of love, or you know what I'm saying? To enforce it, to make it solid, to make it stay according to their own definition. And then here's the child that's watching them, that's doing all this work. 8 of Pentacles. Like I say, self-development. This child is still developing. This child is doing everything they can, and it's burning them out, because they feel like they have to be a perfectionist at every single thing that they do, or else they cannot receive the love of this parent. And everybody, perfectionism deteriorates the spirit, because you are your worst critic, and one thing I learned is that your mind lies to you. Sometimes when it comes to healing work, people think it has to be perfect. You never think about it again. You never do it again. And this is exactly what I went through in my healing work. I used to be like, yeah, I'll never do it again. Never, never, never. But that's a lie. My mind lied to me. Truth is, I will have to heal this again. I will have to revisit it. It will come back. That's not what healing work is. Healing work is regulating your reaction to it. It's the regulation of your reaction. Sometimes you have to spaz out. Sometimes it's inappropriate. It's the regulation. It's awareness of it. But what perfectionism does is it wears down the mind. It wears down the spirit. There's nothing perfect in this world. If anything, the concept of perfection is a flawed word, aside from Jesus Christ of Nazareth. You see what I'm saying? The word perfectionism is a flaw, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if something is perfect, that means it's without flaw. But if it's really perfect, it should have flaws. This child doesn't know that. This child is perfect because this child has flaws. You see what I'm saying? But because this child's mind is telling them, I have to do everything perfect according to this person's perception. Because if I don't live up to this person's perception, I won't get the praise that I love, that I like. I won't get, you know what I'm saying? It makes this person feel good to get praised by their parent. It makes this person feel good to know that they're helping this parent, or that things is good between them and this parent. Because 9 times out of 10, when the mental illness, depending on what it is, this person can spaz out and just go ham and make everybody feel like crap. And the vibe I'm getting here is that Scorpio? No, that's Virgo. This is a Virgo energy. And you know what? I like high vibrational Virgos. When Virgos are in the low vibration, I don't like it. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because when they're in a low vibration, it's like F the world, you know what I'm saying? And they'll go about and they'll act out of their wounds and stuff, feeling like they are, like the world owes them something, essentially. When in reality, the world don't owe you anything. You know what I'm saying? And then this parent could be like a Capricorn Aquarius energy. They're already unstable. You know what I'm saying? One moment they're logical, the next minute they're rebelling against the established order. It's a constant back and forth. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So as a result, that perfectionism has killed the spirit in this child. And this child doesn't feel motivated to do anything, uninspired, no passion, misdirected activities, doing things that don't serve them. But essentially, this child is basically chasing affection from this parent that they look up to, that they admire, that they love. And I tell you what, it's nothing like getting recognition from your own parent. There's nothing like it. You know what I'm saying? So let's pull on the energy collectively and individually. So you got the 4 Wands here. You got the 5 of Cups in reverse. And you got the Queen of Cups out here. So this is an energy that they share together right here. Both of them are in this energy where they're trying to accept something, move on, and they're both trying to find inner peace from setbacks and, trying to forgive themselves for things that they have done. This child probably did things for this parent they wouldn't ordinarily do, and they're trying to find a way to forgive themselves. Or they might even be stuck in limbo trying to figure out how to forgive themselves for the stuff that they did in order to get this parent's favor. And this parent is probably trapped in their own world, thinking about basically themselves. You got the 4 Wands out here. Yeah. Harmony, marriage, home, community, homecoming. See, I just talked about that. About home, love, joy, harmony. This parent, whoever they are, they're trying to figure out a way to be accepted, essentially. Not necessarily just accepted, but they're trying to find their peace. They're trying to find their joy, not realizing, you have a mental illness, and essentially that part is not your fault. You know what I'm saying? It happens. But, I can't say, you need to learn from it, because it could be a variety of different things. It could be a situation where this person is incapable of understanding their own emotions, like narcissism, or it could be a variety of different things, essentially, right? But this person is trying to understand, is learning a lesson about acceptance and, basically celebration, joy, harmony, and things like that, or community where this person belongs. This person is looking for somewhere that they could call home, or where they belong, essentially, is what this is. And this person is, trying to figure out where they belong. This is an identity issue. The child, on the other hand, is in this Queen of Cups energy. This has to do with the home. So yes, this right here, this giving the vibe that this could be a mother, because you have the Queen of Cups and you have Gemini and Cancer here. But with this being a water card, I'm thinking more towards the Cancer, which is the 4th house, and it has everything to do with the mother, relationships, and the home. Gemini is connected to the 3rd house, which is siblings, communication, and siblings. So this person could have been taking care of the household. This somebody who took care of the rest of the house, or try to make sure the rest of the household is good. So this could be a circumstance, a situation where this person is trying to find themselves, trying to find peace, because they're dealing with a mother who's unstable, or a father. It could even be a father, you know what I mean? But they're dealing with a parent that is unstable. And also they're trying to build themselves up, and they're trying to do, take care of the family at the same time, is the vibe that I'm getting here. But they're also trying to get that praise and that love from this parent at the same time. Because let's be real, when it comes to parents, a father is a daughter's first love. and a son's first hero. And the mother is, you know, a son's first love. You see what I'm saying? So this definitely hits the 4th house strongly, okay? All right, so let's see what's new here. What's going on here? You got the Ace of Cups here. You got the 4 of Pentacles in reverse. You got the Moon card here. And you got the 10 of Wands. I need to add one more. You got the Queen of Pentacles over here. And you got the 2 of Cups over here. Okay. So this mother figure is it's coming out that this mother figure either got divorced or is trying to carry a burden of like some kind of love that left them, right? And I'll let you see this. I just got it off screen a little bit, you know what I'm saying? You can still see it, but you got the 2 of Cups, 10 of Wands in reverse, and you got the Moon card in reverse. And then you got the 4 of Pentacles, and for the child, you got 4 of Pentacles here, you got the Ace of Cups, and you got the Queen of Pentacles, right? So basically, there's 2 different stories here. The parent essentially was scorned in love and is trying to find a way to move on, okay? And the child wants love, but they're holding, you know, and they're trying to free their heart up to embrace love, essentially. But the thing is that by this person trying to embrace this, like, it's 2 different worlds where this child wants to take care of their parent. They want to embrace love and stuff like that, right? So they may be showing a lot of the love that they want towards this parent, right? But this parent is too blinded to see that this is genuine love and that they genuinely want to see them do better and all this other stuff, or whatever it may be. And this parent is operating out of a hurt space, doing all this other mess. You know, hence I was talking about them doing spell work. But essentially, this parent can't comprehend. There's a comprehension issue when it comes to a breakup. Yeah, this person can't comprehend why they got broke up with, or why whatever this is with this. It has to do with comprehension. And I'm not saying this person is slow or stupid, because that's not the thing. Sometimes when we are presented with information outside of ourselves, if we don't take the time to contemplate it correctly, well, not contemplate it, but if we have our emotions distort our perspective or perception of something, it makes it more challenging for us to comprehend what's going on. So this person, yeah, so whoever this parent is, they went through a breakup. They got some stuff. They're trying to release some kind of fear. They were repressing their emotions. This person is in a dark night of the soul. There's a lot of insecurities. This person is tearing themselves apart, essentially, about why nobody wants them, or why this relationship didn't work, or whatever it may be. This is a earth air sign. So we know with earth signs, especially Capricorn, they are extremely, essentially, they are, you know, extremely sensitive. They're good people, extremely sensitive, which means that a lot of times, at least in my experience, when I come across Capricorns, if they're like bitey, or if they're like, you know, a little more masculine than feminine, usually that lets me know that this person had to defend themselves in some kind of way, and like there's an inner child wound. Because most Capricorns I come across, they have this really open, nice, and they have the really good energy, essentially. But the thing is that when they're wounded, they have this way of manipulating people around them. The wounded ones usually do, right? And then you have the Aquarius. With that a wounded Aquarius, in my experience, the experience could be different for you. Usually a wounded Aquarius have this this way of they have a dark way, not a dark way, but an unconventional way of expressing them, of being free. So let's say if you block an Aquarius in or something like that, or you try to make them commit, it's not going to work. These Aquariuses, you know, essentially in my experience, these Aquariuses, it's like they're extremely rebellious, not necessarily just rebellious, but they have this tendency to be, it's like, regardless if you like it or not, they have their own, like, idea of what freedom is, and that's what they go after. That's what they express into the world. Okay? But even if it's unconventional to you, but this gives me a vibe that this is somebody who clings to the unconventional way of doing things because, like I say, there's an abandonment wound, or there's a wound here that this person is trying to get over. This person can't release this this wound to their heart, and they're trying to figure it out. This has to do with them not embracing self-love as well. This person is used to doing everything and carrying all the burdens and delegation. This person has burned out and overstressed themselves and trying to make people stay or try to make things happen. This person has a lot of energy. This parent has a lot of energy, but they misuse it, and they abuse it, misuse it, right? And like I say, because of the abuse and misuse of their energy, what happens is the people around them are the ones that suffer the most. I'm going to pull these down so you can see these. Okay, so with the child, you got the Four of Pentacles out here, and you got the Queen of Pentacles out here, right? So with this child is trying to learn how to not mirror what this parent has taught them in love. Because this parent pretty much taught this child in love that if you want something, you got to like bind yourself to it. You got to latch on or do something specific, like you got to do something to make this person stay no matter what. Even if they want to leave, you have to force them to stay in a certain set of situations. So this person is trying to learn how to let things go and let it be, because this person wants love. They want love. They want genuine love, though. They want genuine love. Like, I don't think this person ever had like real genuine love before. And I'm not saying that this person is an evil person, because honestly, I don't know. But whoever this child is that's doing this stuff for this parent, it's like when this person was born, you know, in the beginning of the situation, this person was warm, nurturing. They took care of their business and stuff like that. And they probably even have a child that they were taking care of. You know what I'm saying? They was taking care of this child and all this other stuff, right? You got a Capricorn Sagittarian energy out here. So this could be like a, this could be involving a fire sign and an earth sign. But essentially, the vibe that I'm getting here, it has to do with this person is very independent, essentially, right? The only thing that this person needs in their life is love, but they're trying to take care of this parent, make sure this parent is good. You see what I'm saying? Now, in the reversed, this person is trying to let go of being possessive. So that's essentially something that they inherited from the parent, being possessive. That's the best way. I'm glad that energy came up. Okay, so yeah, it has to do with like being possessive and over people, places, and things. This person is, I guess, because of the parent that they have been taught to operate out of their masculine energy in order to secure what they need, or capture something and secure it. So let's see where the energy is going from here. This is where everything is aspiring towards. So this is a child. Okay. So this right here is the child's energy right here, right? And it may not be like a child. It could be an adult, because, you know, you saw the working and all that other stuff, right? Let me line them up. That way you can see them all. So essentially what happens here is, right now, this child has long-term goals, right? They're working hard, they're being diligent, they're trying to invest their money, and they're trying to invest in things that will prosper them in the future, okay? They're not necessarily just thinking about today, but they're trying to figure out a way to regain control over their life. Essentially is what this person is trying to do, because of this parent that they were dealing with. You know what I'm saying? They relinquished a lot of their control over, I mean, they surrendered a lot of their control to this, you know, taking care of this parent for whatever reason. Well, obvious reasons. You got the Knight of Cups here. So yes. So yeah, lately this person has been kind of moody, overactive, imaginative, jealous, and disappointed. And essentially with this being in the thought spot, maybe this person wants genuine love and sees everybody else with this genuine love and stuff around them, and they figure, well, since I have money, I should be able to have that. And so this person could, you know, also follow in the parents' footsteps, where they may use their money to draw people in and try to make them stay. Is vibe I'm getting here may not be, you know what I'm saying? So yes, this person doesn't really know about love like that. With Libra Scorpio energy out here, this person doesn't know too much about love. They have an idea what it is. They know they want it, but they only have an idea of what it is and what it would be like. You see what I'm saying? So this person resorted to doing magic work in order to secure it. So yes, this person has been doing magic work in order to secure love in their life, because they don't know how to naturally attract it, because they don't have the right example in their life to follow. This person was taught that they have to do, you know, X, Y, Z in order to secure a person and hold on, and you latch onto them and hold on to them. So that four pentacles right here very well could have been like a bottle spill that they had done on somebody. And it could have been like 4 of them to keep somebody bound and stuck. 4 bottle spills, right? Or, yeah, 4 bottle spills, or four spells connected to earth magic, like herbs and stuff like that, right? They did this, and whatever it is, it backfired, and it's ending now. Okay? It's ending. Because this person was taught to do that in order to secure love. At least that's what they were taught to do. You got the Star card out here. So yes, this person is pretty much trying to recover themselves. They're trying to recover after, you know, some kind of loss. The vibe that I'm getting here essentially is that this person is recovering their power. That's what this is. They're trying to recover or replenish their power. So this person could be although they may have gone through the dark night of the soul, this person is trying to like heal themselves, repair themselves, find out what's wrong and what's working and what's not working in their life, and they're acting accordingly. This person is doing healing work. There's a child out here, or I ain't gonna say a child, but when I say child, I just mean that this is the offspring of whoever this person is. This could be an adult, this could be a younger, you know what I'm saying? But essentially, whoever a child is, they are doing the healing work. They're not doing magic essentially to, you know, in a baneful way like they were in the past. Now they're converting over to trying to learn how to do healing magic and healing work. Okay, so let's look at the parent. Right now, the parent, you got the Devil contract, you got the Hierophant here. Wow. You got the Ace of Pentacles, and you got the Chariot in reverse. Wow. So this parent here, essentially is bound to something. It's like their shadow self. They have an attachment to something. It could be an addiction or something like that. I'm seeing addiction, sexuality, temptation. This parent gives into temptation really easily with the Devil card out here, right? Yeah, it has to do with like responsibility. This person is not responsible, and they have a tendency to get attached easily. This parent attaches to things easily, right? So what this parent is planning to do is they are trying to find a way to be socially accepted. Like I said, it's like, it has to do with like acceptance. This person could like start going back to church or some kind of institution or tradition that they used to follow, or they're trying to look for wisdom, they're looking for mercy essentially, or even just forgiveness, but they know that they always have this mental illness that doesn't go away. So the vibe is like they're trying to find a conventional way to help them get through this mental instability is what this is. That's what they're trying to do. And the reason why they're trying to do it is they're trying to do this for money. they want to know how to manifest, or there's some kind of money or prosperity or something that's involved in this or something like that. Like this person could have addictions that affect their job or something like that, or this person realizes that it's starting to affect them in some kind of way that keeps them from getting money. You know, with addictions and stuff like that, it gets expensive. So it could be that the addictions is getting really expensive, and it's really can go over into this child's life in any way, some way, shape, or form. And this person is recognizing that, so this person could be going to get help for their addictions and stuff like that. And you know, I don't know. Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting here. Yeah, this person is trying to yeah, basically take back their power. You got two people trying to take back their power, a parent and a child. And then you got the Chariot here. Right now, they have issues with their self-discipline, opposition, lack of direction, lack of control, aggression, arrogance, and carelessness. So this person is trying to get help, but it sounds like that this parent has like anger issues or something like that, is really aggressive towards people and stuff like that. And maybe this person is trying to heal, maybe they aren't, maybe it's just a show, you know, because that happens too, where people say, oh, well, yeah, you're right, I got a problem, I need to go get help or whatever. And then they go to get help, they start getting help, and then they quit. They quit right in the middle of it, or, you know, before they accomplish what they set out to do, right? But this parent would definitely be an example of a fifth dimensional being, because what happens is when you are a twin flame, you go through the energy of recovery, okay? Recovery is essential with the twin flame journey, because what happens is in traditional medicine, you know, essentially all medicine that has healing properties and abilities is based off of the region. It's based off the DNA. It's based, let's say, DNA, the region, and it's also, well, I'm sorry, ethnicity. It's based off of the region and essentially what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you have cures that should pop up in different countries that don't show up in America. Okay, our diets is different. Whereas you could take, let's say, certain herbs and leaves and roots and stuff over in, let's say, I don't know, South America, and then start clearing up your diabetes or something like that. Here in America, it won't necessarily work, because a lot of our food is processed, which nullifies the effect of whatever you drink or eat. So dieting have to change. You have to switch to a different diet, like a high protein diet, like over in South America, where you know, where it comes from. If you don't, it renders that vaccine or whatever ineffective, or it's not as effective, because when they tested it, 9 times out of 10, they tested it on somebody with a certain protein level, a certain diet. Even if it is a mouse, because the food that they feed the mice and that they do the testing, that food comes from a certain place. You see what I'm saying? So yes, with the whole twin flame journey, you have to understand. That's concepts that you have to understand. Well, you may not understand, but that's a good thing to understand when it comes to healing yourself in order to get through to your fifth dimensional self. Because what happens is, you know, you're going to be, without a doubt, you're going to be put in a situation where it's impossible to heal you. It's going to be a lose-lose situation. If you heal, you feel like you lost. If you heal, or if you retaliate, you may feel like you won, but deep down you lost. So it's all about, do you want to feel the loss on an internal level or external level? Internal loss affects you for X amount of time until you heal that. So if you keep ignoring it, ignoring that internal loss, it can affect you for about 5, 10, 15 years if you don't do the work. Now, an external loss, it may affect you in that moment and you may feel bad, but by you winning internally, it helps you adjust accordingly. Adaptability. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's important for you to take the time to understand healing isn't just health. It can be mental, emotional, and spiritual. Okay? Mental healing work I mean, you have to, I mean, we all have to create our own books in terms of our own medical codes. Because don't get me wrong, there is stuff out here that'll help you, you know, that helps to aggregate people. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you have to know what helps you. You have to know what helps you get through a hard day. You have to know what helps you get through a good day. You have to know what helps you avoid triggers. You have to know how you respond with triggers. You have to know your reactions. You have to know these things. You have to be able to evaluate and know these things, because if you don't know these things about yourself, you end up lost because nobody else knows you like you know you, or lives with you like you live with you. How you live with yourself, I mean, you know, you living with yourself, it's like you know yourself 24/7. You've been watching yourself. You evaluated yourself. You are your own doctor. You are not your wounds, but you are your own doctor. You know that you have to know the difference between treating a wound and healing it. Healing it means there's a chance that it won't come back, but if it does, you have the medicine to know how to address it. Now, tending to it, which is something that we see in the cosmos. In astrology, we experience that as the Chiron placement. Yeah. I'm looking through the phone, so Chiron placement, okay? So if you want to know what kind of wound you are here to fight in this realm, in this world, go look at your Chiron placement. Look at the aspects of it and look it up. Pretty much can Google it, right? Pretty much can Google it. That way it'll express to you what your wound is, because we have wounds on many levels. There are personal wounds, right? Personal wounds. We have interpersonal wounds. We have intrapersonal wounds. We have transpersonal wounds. We have cosmic wounds. We have lineage wounds. We have wounds connected to our region where we live. Wounds connected to our region. Wounds connected to our ethnicity. Wounds, everything that basically does that you can take to describe who you are in this world. There is a group connected to, there's a wound connected to it in some way, shape, or form. And that's why I say that spirits are communal. Because let's say if you are, African American, right? You African American. One of the wounds that we all share is the wound from slavery. You see what I'm saying? Even if you're just African, Africans also went through slavery. The Hebrews went through slavery. Israelites, the Jewish community went through slavery. You see what I'm saying? But each slavery was different. African American slavery was in America, which means that's a region which has what? A different set of wounds compared to the one in Africa by King Leopold. Okay? His slavery was different, right? And those slavery happened in a different region, which does what? Have a whole separate different type of wound. A personal wound, and you know, you could go through all of these or whatever, and you know, I'm just pretty much wrapping up the video at this point. So you have these personal wounds, and essentially you can see that in your birth chart, you know. And if not, if you don't believe in your birth chart, that's fine, because another rule of thumb is you have to, if you don't believe in your birth chart, to bring these things to your consciousness, because essentially with wounds and traumas, you have to bring it to your consciousness. We call that what? Triage. That's a part of what triage is. That's why when you go to the doctor, the first thing they do, triage. They want to know what symptoms are you having, so it brings to light what could possibly be the problem. And you don't need to know exactly what the problem is, just the symptoms. So personal level, the symptoms to this wound. You know what? It seems like every time I hang out with so-and-so, I don't know why, I just feel this need to chase this person or to make this person feel happy, but this person just dogs the crap out of me. I don't understand. That's a symptom. Now you can start delving into it and realize, well, maybe I'm just afraid to be alone. Maybe I need this person's approval to live. Okay? But why is that? And then you go deeper into that and you start. Now, interpersonal, this personal has to do with you. Interpersonal is how you deal with other people. How you deal with other people. This intrapersonal is going to be how others deal with you. So it's basically the opposite. Or how the wounds from how other people treat you. Then transpersonal is basically how an entire group is treated on a grand scale. It could be like an ethnicity, a region, or whatever it may be. It could be like these here. Then you have cosmic wounds, because we all come from stardust. We have cosmic families, cosmic lineages, whether you are new to it or not. They also have traumas and wounds and gifts. If you can get a gift from a lineage or from a certain source, you can also inherit a wound. Because what? Light and dark balances itself out. You see how that works? If you are a starseed, you're going to inherit a gift from your cosmic family, but you're also going to inherit a wound. That's why a lot of our shamans and our workers, spiritual workers, have some kind of wound. They have a wound. They're born with a wound, or they're treated different, or whatever it may be. They could even have mental disorders, because the mental disorders is basically, with a mental disorder, it's like, let's say you got waves, right? You got sine wave, right? Sine wave. This is a sine wave. If you don't know what, about, let's say, sine wave. And this has to do with math, okay? Now you have a cosine wave, right? Which will go like this. The sine wave could represent male. The cosine could represent female. But those with mental disorders could be on the tangent wave. And the tangent wave is different. It's like a straight line, connect down here, straight line, connect down here, straight line, connect down here, straight line, connect down. So sometimes it's a lot of hit and miss. You see what I'm saying? But essentially what happens is there's a hit and miss, because sometimes you're tapping into a frequency higher than yourself. And then other times you're tapping into an energy lower than yourself. And then other times you're right in that sweet spot, but it doesn't last long. You see what I'm saying? You're on a different octave or a wave. And so what happens is, depending on the mental illness, it's a hit and a miss. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're in that octave, sometimes you're not. Now with AM, FM radio is something that I'm, working on. I learned that there are waves inside of waves, where you might have a wave like that, another wave like that, or whatever it may be, but all of them are contained in a single wave. And what does that mean? Essentially, that's essentially what creation is. All of this on the outside wave, that's a female energy. That's a womb. It's a womb. It's a womb in which all these other octaves operate in. Because once it goes outside of this octave, it dissolves and becomes nothingness. But everything inside this wave, as it pushes and brushes up against one another, it creates this masculine, creative force energy. That's why when God said, let there be light, he said that inside of a medium, which was what? Well, he said, let there be light, and there was light. But he said that in a medium, because if you notice, space is essentially a medium. Because if it wasn't a medium, only mediums have a way of taking nutrients and stuff outside the body, essentially outside. Well, I'll put it like, that's alone. That's something totally different. Whatever. But essentially, we are contained by this essentially embryonic fluid. Okay? Because of the pressure it takes to keep our reality compressed, so it don't fall out of alignment. When you go outside into that embryonic fluid, the pressure of it is what causes you to dissolve. You see what I'm saying? Because it takes a lot of pressure to keep reality molded in shape. That's why we have the four corners of the world and the universe. But long story short, that's all math stuff. Okay? All right, so that's all I got. I love y'all all. Y'all take it easy. Take what works for you. Leave what don't. And peace.